Hey, my name's Russell and this is Windows Business Weekly. Today we're going to look at what's new in Edge 87, including updates to the web capture tool, automatic URL shortening, changes to the new tab page for enterprise users, and also some updates for IT pros. So Microsoft released version 87 of its Edge browser last week, and it's a relatively minor update, but there are a few interesting changes. So let's head over to the PC and I'll get straight on with showing you what's new. So you can check which version of the browser that you're currently running by coming up to the three ellipses here in the top right hand corner, coming down to Help and Feedback, and then selecting About Microsoft Edge in the menu. And on the screen here, you can see that we're up to date with version 87. If not, you'll be offered to download the new update and restart your browser so that you're running the latest version. Now, the biggest visual new change in this version of Edge is something a little bit commercial for Microsoft, I guess, in that Bing coupons are now enabled by default. If you open a shopping site and you're in a supported region, you'll now automatically see coupons appear to the top right of the address bar. Now, I'm not in a supported region, so I can't show you how that works. Not really something that I'm very interested in, but it does allow you to find deals and compare prices and do all sorts of things. And I've never seen how it works because you have to be in the US, and I think it's partially supported in the UK as well. But that is now all enabled by default. Of course, you can go into settings, and under services in settings, you can disable that. Because it's a regional feature, I don't even see the option to enable or disable it in my version of Edge. But if you're in the US, you can choose to disable that if you don't want to see those coupons automatically appear as you browse shopping sites. So another update to this version of Edge is there have been some minor changes to the web capture tool. Now, there are three different ways that you can access the tool. You can just right-click on a page and select Web Capture. You can press Ctrl, Shift and S to start a web capture, or alternatively, you can come up to the three ellipses here and also start a web capture from this menu. Now, a web capture differs slightly from a screenshot in that it allows you to capture a lot more of the area of a web page and not just what you can see on your screen. So if I start a screenshot right now, and you can see now I've got the crosshairs, and this enables me to draw the area that I want to capture. So I'm going to draw the area here, but as you can see, as I scroll down, it allows me to go further down. And you can't do this with the built-in screen capture tool in Windows, for instance. So I'm going to scroll down there. I'm not sure that it will let me go all the way down the web page, but I can go quite a way. Let's have a look. Yep. Okay, that's enough. I'm going to release the mouse, and there I've got my capture. Now, in this version of Edge, the difference is that I can add notes now to the capture. So I'm going to click here, Add Notes, and you can see the web capture page has now opened, and I've got the ability here to draw on the page. So I can just scribble something there. If I click this menu here, I can select the color and also alter the thickness of the pen. Now, of course, at the moment, this is really designed for people who have a tablet and a pen. Hopefully, in the future, they will update this so that you can add text notes for those of us that aren't using a PC with a keyboard and mouse. But nevertheless, the ability to add notes is a good update to this tool. And then once you've finished with the capture and adding any notes that you want, you can either just copy and then paste this into OneNote or Word. You can save it as a file, or you can share it to another application. So another feature in this update is URL shortening. So if I take, for instance, the Windows Business Weekly YouTube URL, and I copy it, if I go into, I don't know, another web page and I want to send this link by email, if I now paste this by pressing Ctrl and V, you can see that I automatically get a shortened version of this URL that looks nice and not all of that gobbledygook, which doesn't look very attractive in my email, for instance. And that is now turned on by default. If you still want to copy the full URL, you just press Ctrl, Shift and V, and you can see there that you get the full URL and a preview. But the default now is just for that automated short URL. Now, I was talking about shopping at the beginning of this clip, and depending on what region you're in, if you open a new tab, you will get a tile here called Deals, and this is also new. And also voice search is also new, but this also is rather region dependent, it seems. I don't have this in my version of the browser. So if you have this in your browser, then please let me know in the comments. I'd be interested to see what regions that has appeared in. And if you're finding this content useful, then please give the video a thumbs up and use the link in the right-hand corner of the video to subscribe to my channel for more similar content. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the more interesting features in this version of Edge. So the new tab page for enterprise users also gets a tweak. So if I open up my work profile, you see here now that not only do I have my work feed, Office 365. So if I click to Office 365 here, you can see all of the latest documents. This is everything I'm interested in for work. We now have the ability to switch here to my personal feed. And this is things that are maybe interesting for work-related stuff or personal stuff, but I can configure this here and decide what kind of information I would like to appear in my own work feed. And I can then just switch back to Office 365 and switch between these two feeds. And again, I'll try to personalize that, and this time it works. And you can see here I can choose what I want to see on my personal feed. So why it's called personal, it is actually supposed to be at least semi-work related. So that's an update for enterprise users using a work profile in Edge. Now, there are a lot of articles on the web detailing changes to PDF in this update, the PDF reader that's built into the browser. And while it's true there are some updates, a lot of the changes that are being touted are not really coming in this version, but are in the dev and Canary channel versions. But nevertheless, we do have an update in this version. So if I close my work profile there, and I come back to my personal version of Edge, if I come over to a PDF, we now have the option to highlight text using the mouse and keyboard. So if I come to the main part of the document, let's say I want to highlight this section, I can highlight it, and then for instance I might choose a color, so I want to highlight it yellow. Now, the ability to add text comments isn't in version 87 of Edge, but it is coming, so hopefully that is something that we will be able to do soon. Now, you also may have noticed that I use the table of contents here to navigate the documents, and that's something that came in Edge 86, and of course that's very useful if you're working with extremely long PDF documents. So what about new stuff for IT professionals? So automatic redirection is now enabled in this version of Edge for sites that are incompatible with Internet Explorer. So if a user opens a site in Internet Explorer and it receives the message this site is incompatible with Internet Explorer, it will now automatically open in Edge. And those redirection features are configurable using group policy. There are some privacy settings now enabled by default if you use kiosk mode. So it will do things like automatically clear the user data when the browser is shut down and delete any downloaded files. And those features are now enabled by default if you are using kiosk mode. And finally, support for ClickOnce applications is now enabled by default. So ClickOnce applications are applications that a user can download without any administrative privileges on the device. They're isolated in a container, so they are safe in principle, so they're isolated from other applications and from the operating system itself. And ClickOnce applications, they update themselves automatically. So support for that is now enabled by default in this version of Edge. Okay, so if you thought this content was useful, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you would like more content like this. There are a couple of videos related to this on the screen now that you can also check out. For instance, what's new in the update that came out recently to Windows 10 version 20H2. And I've also got a video on how to use collections in Microsoft Edge. That's it for now, and see you next time.